welcome to one more episode of Drug Discovery and Development with IronCure. I'm Sukant Khurana, the founder of IronCure, and with me is a young researcher, brilliant researcher, Vanshika Kapoor. Vanshika is pursuing her master's degree in drug discovery from University College London, a premier institute for drug discovery. We are delighted to have her as part of IronCure. Welcome, Vanshika.
Thank you so much, Dr. Khurana.
So, Vanshika, I will ask you a question on personalized medicine. So, how do you think personalized medicine can be taken to developing countries? How can it be made financially viable also, given the constraints of developing countries?
So I will briefly explain first what the concept of personalized medicines is. So it can actually be explained in a very simple format that it could actually be like custom medicine, or what we can say is that a medicine that suits each person and his needs. So what this involves is that basically for developing personalized medicine, we need to stratify the patient population to similar groups, and then we need to allot the medication to them or develop medication according to their particular needs or genomic structure. Now, as we all know, the developed countries seem to be beyond the expectations when it comes to finding genomic techniques and techniques related to whole genome sequencing of individuals in the population. Developed countries seem to have a lot of funds, and definitely they're way better in terms of technologies as well. But when it comes to developing countries, the problem is that due to a lack of funds, a lack of maybe knowledge or skills or availability of the due researchers, we lack the possibility of whole genome sequencing at a reasonable cost for our population. Another problem that I feel that we have in developing countries mostly is the fact that we have an extremely large population, and so the difficulty it just increases by many folds. But the one thing that I feel that can help maybe in the future to introduce the concept of personalized medicines in India and other developing countries is the improvement in genomic technologies such as whole genome sequencing, mostly by reducing the cost of each sequencing that is done, which has already been cut down by, I would say, more than by a tenth of what it was 10 years back. So although the cost has declined rapidly, I still see that there is a lot more need to cut these costs down further and to improve the technology so that with each sequencing, the data accuracy is increased. At the same time, the cost is decreased. And that is something that can be done in order to introduce personalized medicines to India, especially for disorders such as cancer, which is something that the entire world is struggling with in one form or the other. So I feel that this kind of medicine is definitely a revolution in the field of drug discovery, and it is the need of the hour to bring in new technologies to actually improve the scope of personalized medicines in developing countries as well as the developed countries.
Wonderful, Vanshika. There is one other problem with developing countries, which I know having worked in government sector. So in a place like ICIR Kolkata, I reported corruption. They tried to put fake charges. When I actually asked them to inquire, they couldn't prove anything. But then they kept spreading the rumors. So, I mean, I had horrible life in this place. Then I moved to CGRI. I got them deals that let's sell this stuff to US. The director wasn't interested, probably wasn't making money of the deals. And everything is on email. There are email, video evidence. So the problem is actually not just funding. When I moved to Delhi in IGIB, the director was trying to blackmail me about several issues of, I got this email from ICIR Kolkata. I actually recorded all of it. But, given that legal system sucks in India, it is more for people's court to decide. Actual judicial court can't really, I would have to spend next 20 years rather than finding cures of autism, finding cures of Parkinson's, trying to make the world free of COVID-19. In fact, one of the things is I had a series of 17 emails which I wrote when I first joined ICIR Kolkata to the director, that these are things which will transform India. Of them, one of the important components which was there in every single 17 email was pandemic prediction. And every single 17 emails mentioned coronavirus as a likely candidate for next pandemic. And it's not that I'm really bright. I do think I'm above average. I'm not a genius. I'm not an exception. But the fact is, anyone who's looking at viruses, knows that there are 7, 8 virus categories which are likely going to be next pandemic. And I had actually even suggested a very clear pipeline. I had told that, look, you can do something called web scraping, do NLP, and keep these as keywords, and have a sentiment, stance, and semantic analysis, and have even anomaly detection in the whole pipeline. And you can say something's odd, right? Is there a news related to these things? Is there a news related to flu symptoms? Can you warn a country 3 or 4 months in advance? And then when I was at CGRI, I worked with somebody whose credentials are being related to some other big scientist. I don't know what she's actually done in her life, but I had to take her along because, you know, if you're a young scientist, you have to, in India, you have all these gurus that you have to take along. And we were working on doing that for all developing world diseases. And she just realized that I have reported something against the director, again, for financial corruption. She just bolted. And she, in fact, called up somebody so that the other thing I was doing in malaria, that was with a collaborator in AIIMS. She had done some screening, got positive results, then decided not to send me the data. And we had submitted 2, 3 articles on opinion pieces, and she said, we have never done work together. We have journal submissions. So in India, people lie. And then I later realized that this person in AIIMS, her own all qualification was that her father used to be a so-called scientist at AIIMS. So the daughter got in easy. So in India, we have a bigger pandemic than COVID-19. It's genuinely of criminals. Some of them genuinely need to be shot dead. I'm neither a fan of Prime Minister Modi nor of Rahul Gandhi. I'm not trying to make a political statement, but I think anyone who's a prime minister, whether it be a political party I completely dislike or whether it's a political party I dislike slightly less, there is none which I like, but whichever is there, I think above politics, they should put attention to science and technology. Around 1990, Chinese economy was already bigger than Indian, but in terms of science and technology, they were at the same size. Now, Chinese science is next only to US. The reason Indian science is to be blamed are science leaders. And to be honest, some of them just put in their sons and daughters as the next director, son-in-laws as next director. So principal scientific advisors of India, top scientific board, some of them actually have done enough crimes of corruption, sexual harassment, whatnot, that some of them need to be given capital punishment. So Indian science needs cleaning up before anything can be done. So I am actually very optimistic about USA. There are 2 countries which I call home. I was born in India, and I will not lie to you that I'm culturally more American. Of the of the life I spent, I prefer being honest. I prefer being upfront. Though hope in America, but at the end of the day, if India doesn't improve, I would be really disappointed. It's a place, after all, a place where I was born. I would love to see it grow. So I think there's a lot that needs to change. But anyhow, the other points that you mentioned are absolutely amazing. But I think systemic changes in people's mindset is what is needed. But absolutely brilliant insights. Thank you very much for this podcast, Vanshika. And to end it, I'll discuss a few things about IronCure. IronCure is a drug discovery company primarily based in the US. But we are also based in India, having 1 branch here called IronCure Tech Private Limited. We are a for-profit company, but for 3 diseases in terms of medicines, it's not working for profit. It is reinvesting everything that it is getting. These include SARS-CoV-2, these include depression, and these include epilepsy. So what these 3, all the money goes for salary of scientists, infrastructure building, R&D, but none goes to CEO, none goes to funders, right, to the financiers. So this is what we are doing. We encourage citizen science. We encourage people to join us from all walks of life. You can contact us at volunteer@ironcurerx.com or at contact@ironcurerx.com. Our website is www.ironcurerx.com, IONCURERX.com. Thank you very much for listening.